The Hairy Hatman's House by Lynn Wendon. Harry was a little boy who loved hats. Little hats, big hats, tall hats, and short hats. Anything he could put on his head made him happy. As he grew older, collecting hats became his hobby. Soon he had nearly 100 hats. When Harry became a man, he still loved hats. So one day he started a hat shop in the little house where he lived, halfway up the hill. Lots of people came to buy hats from his hat shop. They could buy any hat they wanted, except one. That was because one of Harry's hats was not for sale. It was his favorite hat, a green, rather hairy hat. He had made it himself, and he wore it all the time. Soon people stopped calling him Harry. They always called him the Hairy Hatman instead. The Hairy Hatman lived happily in his little house until one evening there was a great storm in Letterland. The wind blew hard and the rain poured down. The storm was still raging when he went to bed. When he woke up the next morning, the poor Hatman had a terrible shock. "Help!" he cried. "The wind has blown a hole in my roof. Now all my hats are soaked." He carried the dripping hats outside and hung them on the line to dry. He felt very unhappy. "Henry," he said to his horse, "where will I get the money to buy a new roof?" "You'll just have to sell lots more hats," said Henry. "But how?" asked the Hairy Hatman. "It's a long walk up the hill to my hat shop. I can't make the hill any shorter, can I?" "You could take the hats down the hill and sell them in the market," said Henry. "But how will I ever carry them all?" asked the Hairy Hatman. "By horse," suggested Henry, smiling. "What a good idea!" cried Harry. As soon as the hats were dry, the Hairy Hatman harnessed Henry to a cart and loaded it high with hats. Together they set off down the hill. In the marketplace it was very busy. The Hairy Hatman stopped the cart to give Henry some hay. Soon, lots of people had gathered round to buy hats. It was hot work, but the Hatman and Henry hoped to sell enough hats to pay for a new roof before it rained again. Every day they worked in the marketplace. They sold so many hats that soon the people had all the hats they needed. But the Hatman still did not have enough money for a new roof. "It's hopeless," he said to his horse. "I don't know what to do now, Henry." Henry's ears twitched as he tried to think. "I can't think in this hot sun," he said. "Please make me a sun hat." "What a good idea," said Harry. So straight away he made a large sun hat for Henry, with 2 holes in just the right places for his ears. Soon, all the other horses in Letterland heard about Henry's hat. They wanted to buy sun hats too. The next day, Bouncy Ben came along and asked, "Can you make me a special baseball cap?" "I'd be happy to," said the Hairy Hatman. So he made a special baseball cap for Bouncy Ben, with 2 holes in just the right places for his ears. When Bouncy Ben's brothers saw his baseball cap, they all wanted one just like it. So the Hatman made special caps for them too. The next day, Clever Cat came along. She liked Henry's hat very much. "Can you make me a special cat hat?" she asked. "Of course," said the Hatman. So he made a special cat hat for her, with 2 holes in just the right places for her ears. When Clever Cat's cousins saw her special hat, they all wanted to buy one too. So Harry made lots more. Soon, the Hairy Hatman had made a special hat for almost every animal in Letterland. But he still did not have enough money for the new roof. "Henry," he said to his horse one day, "there is still only enough money for half a roof. We'll never have enough before it rains again. Now what shall we do?" Henry's ears twitched in their hat holes as he thought. Then he had an idea. "If you can make sun hats for heads," he said, "why can't you make a rain hat for your house?" "Of course!" cried the hairy hat man, hopping up and down with excitement. "I could make a huge rain hat. If I make it myself, it won't cost very much at all." That very same day, he started to make a special hat for his house. It was huge, and it had 2 holes in just the right places for his chimneys. When it was finished, his Letterland friends helped to put the new hat on his house. At last, the hairy hat man was happy again. Now it didn't matter if it rained. His house had a new roof. "Everyone likes my new roof, don't they, Henry?" he said to his horse. Henry smiled. "That's because it looks like your favorite hat," said Henry. The hairy hat man looked at his new roof again. "It does rather, doesn't it?" he said, smiling happily. Subscribe to my channel and give this video a big thumbs up. Follow me on Instagram at The Rainbow Teacher.